Massive progress is taking over the future Camp Nou, and today, we have some of the most impressive construction changes we've seen in days. The ceramic llamas are expanding rapidly across the stadium facade. The third tier continues transforming section by section, and major structural work is still moving fast around the upper levels. New details are becoming visible almost everywhere, and some areas already look completely different compared to just a few days ago. So sit back, relax, and let's take a full look at the latest progress at the new Spotify Camp Nou. The compression ring continues becoming one of the biggest highlights of the entire construction project. From the elevated terraces, the newest installed sections are now clearly visible, showing how rapidly the upper roof structure is advancing. The latest falange sections have already been installed in both goal areas, and workers are now preparing the next stage involving new pillars and radial beams. In the south goal sector, the recently completed section already matches the progress level seen on the north goal side. The next steps will focus on lifting additional structural trusses, followed by the installation of new exterior pillars and radial beams that will support the following falange sections. Activity around these upper roof connections remains extremely intense, with workers operating directly around the suspended structures and alignment systems. Several radial beams were also secured with tension systems, while workers continued adjustments underneath the structure. Large cranes and elevated work platforms remain active throughout the roof zone, confirming that the compression ring expansion is still moving at a very fast pace. The third tier continues advancing steadily with visible progress across several upper seating sections. Workers are currently focusing on joint sealing operations, stair distribution, safety structures, and upper walkway preparations. More areas now appear cleaner and more complete, while the overall scale of the upper stadium structure is becoming increasingly impressive from every angle. Finishing work around several seating joints is also becoming much more noticeable compared to previous days. The south goal area continues showing visible development around the second and first cantilever levels. Workers were seen dismantling temporary support elements in certain sectors, suggesting that some structural phases are already completed and stable enough to continue toward the next stage. Additional scaffolding systems are now being assembled near future pillar positions, while elevated platforms continue operating around the upper beams and structural joints. Even though some sectors appeared calmer today, large amounts of material remain distributed across the interior corridors and cantilever areas, confirming that multiple works are still ongoing simultaneously. Inside the VIP corridors and interior passageways, construction activity remains constant, with workers continuing technical installations and structural preparations behind the visible exterior framework. The space shows continued organization of these elements, with materials already distributed across different levels. From here, partial visibility into the inner structure can also be seen through the access points, confirming ongoing work inside. One of the most important developments today is the continued preparation work for the future llamas installation. In the south goal sector, workers have now started aligning the anchoring systems using guidelines attached between the supports. This is a major sign that new llamas installation could begin very soon in this area. The previously installed llamas in this section have remained unchanged for several weeks because workers were still performing technical operations behind the structure. However, major progress is finally returning to this zone as alignment systems, support brackets, and anchoring connections continue expanding rapidly. Across both corners and lateral sections, the amount of work related to the llamas has increased significantly during the last few days. Support pieces, rear connections, anchoring systems, and alignment guides are now visible in many different sectors of the stadium, showing that the exterior facade installation is entering another important phase. The lateral sector remains the busiest construction area inside the entire stadium. Massive amounts of structural material are now filling the corner zones, including radial beams, falange sections, trusses, and multiple support components waiting for installation. Workers also continue advancing the diamond structure area, where reinforcement systems, formwork, and pillar preparations remain active. Even though several diamond sections are already completed, Some areas still require additional concrete and structural work before reaching their final stage. Large cranes were also seen transporting new structural beams toward the upper mobility core structures. These zones will eventually contain elevators, staircases, and circulation systems that connect the different stadium levels. The upper framework around these mobility cores continues expanding steadily as more beams and support systems are installed. The North Goal sector delivered some of the biggest visible changes today. The missing falange section that was previously being prepared has now officially been installed, meaning both goal areas have reached nearly identical progress levels around the compression ring. This confirms that the next construction sequence will now fully transition into the new north goal roof configuration, where the exterior pillar positioning changes compared to the lateral sections. Workers are already preparing the following structural stages by organizing new trusses, pillars, and radial beams directly below the installation zones. At ground level, this area is now completely filled with construction materials, roof components, llamas, and support systems. The entire sector looks extremely active, with cranes, lifting equipment, and workers constantly moving between installation points. Llama's installation work continues accelerating rapidly inside the north goal corner. Workers recently completed the frontal false ceiling section and have now started extending the installation into the bracket areas nearby. New llamas were visibly installed today, and the overall pace in this sector has clearly improved compared to previous weeks. Workers now appear much more efficient with the assembly process, allowing installation speed to increase considerably. Additional alignment guides have also been installed across sectors that are still waiting for future llamas placement. This strongly suggests that new facade installation phases may begin very soon in multiple sections simultaneously. Several workers were also seen painting bolts and structural elements around the rear support systems. These finishing treatments continue throughout different parts of the stadium, while larger structural works advance above and around them. The upper mobility core structures continue progressing steadily as new beams and support pieces are lifted into position by tower cranes. These skeleton-like frameworks are becoming more complete every day and will later receive sandwich panels and exterior coverings. Workers were also seen installing vertical connection pieces and support systems for the black panel structures that will cover the upper sectors. While many of these areas still require finishing work and painting, the structural expansion is already very advanced. Additional technical installations continue underneath the cantilever structures as workers prepare piping systems and interior connections across the tribune sector and upper lateral areas. Compared to the lateral and corner sectors, the tribune area remains much calmer in terms of visible activity. However, work continues steadily around the mobility cores and technical infrastructure zones. Large quantities of sandwich panels are now stored throughout this sector, ready for future installation phases. Workers also continue operating elevated platforms around the interior structures, while additional support systems are prepared behind the visible framework. Even though progress here appears slower visually, many technical operations are clearly continuing behind the scenes. The ceramic llamas continue showing major visible progress across the lateral facade of the stadium. Multiple new red llama sections have now been installed, and the exterior is starting to look far more complete compared to previous days. Workers remain active with specialized lifting platforms, while additional support structures and anchoring systems are already prepared for the next installation phases around both the north goal and south goal sectors. In the final corner section near the south goal, new visible progress can now be seen around the llama support structures. Fresh supports have been installed in this area compared to the previous day, while additional vertical connection systems are already prepared for future expansion. Elevated platforms remain active around the lower cantilever sections, where workers continue structural and alignment tasks. Activity is also ongoing around the piston and interior beam zones, adding further movement to one of the final active sectors shown in today's update. Overall, today delivered another extremely important construction update for the future stadium of FC Barcelona. The compression ring continues advancing rapidly, Both goal sectors are now synchronized structurally, and the llama's installation process is accelerating across multiple areas of the stadium. The lateral corner zones remain the hottest construction points right now, filled with constant movement, heavy machinery, structural installations, and facade preparation work. Every new day brings more visible transformation, and the stadium is now starting to look increasingly complete from nearly every angle. The pace of development continues building momentum, and with so many sectors advancing simultaneously, the next stages of construction are expected to bring even more dramatic visual progress very soon.